we really didn't have a lot of choice. Consumer choice was extremely limited. You got what the manufacturer made, and that was it. Famously, all of us, recall from school the, kind of classic Henry Ford line: "Any color you want comes in black." So those are your choices. Any questions? So, and people didn't reject that. They didn't really think, well, I don't want that. It was very common. You think about the world today, it's a vastly different thing. Consumers, they don't think that they should. They expect that you'll provide them more choice, more control, more ownership of what it is ultimately. And that really sits at kind of the heart and soul of what we were trying to do, which was create ownership of that free checking product, that purely otherwise utilitarian service that we provide to our customers. How can we get our customers to be engaged with that product? And if they can engage with the product, they can engage with the bank. And if they can engage with the bank, we could cross-sell and everybody would be happy, and I could pay that mortgage. So that's kind of what we started with. We looked at that trend and said, here's what's going on in the marketplace. Here's the way consumers are behaving. Forget banking for a second. Here's the way consumers are behaving. Why don't we tap into that? So we said, well, why isn't this true in banking? The obvious answer is because we're not a terribly innovative industry, quite honestly. But it ought to be, and we should be. And so that's the task we took on. And that's what we did. So what we designed was what we like to think of as the industry's first truly customizable checking account, where customers can either in-branch, on the phone, or on the website, build their own account from scratch, just like you could build that magazine from scratch, just like you can design your own shoes from scratch, just like you can download whatever you want onto your iPod from scratch. So what you have here is essentially a base account, and customers pick and choose their features when they're building it. 2 days later, they can change those features. 2 weeks later, they can change those features. Like some of the stuff we have as an example is you get free ATMs if you want. If that's the thing that you want, you can do that. If you want double points on your card, you can get double points. If you want cash back, it doesn't matter. It's kind of your choice. And as your needs change, one example would be, say you live in a place that has lots of ATMs. And so having a free ATM is not really a big deal because there's already a Compass one next to you. But if you're going to go away for the weekend, you're going to go to Boston, Massachusetts, not a lot of Compass banks up in Boston, Mass. Okay, so you're probably going to pay a fee. So what you could do before you left town that day, switch your features on Friday, go up to Boston, you don't pay an ATM fee all weekend, come back home, go back to the way you were before. So the notion that, again, we're putting the customer in control, giving them charge, and we're really excited. So we're happy. We're rolling. We've got this idea. We're building it. IT is going to commit to it. It's going to be great. It's still a checking account, okay? So this is where it kind of starts to break down, right? And so you're trying to convince people to get excited, and we're all excited because we're bankers, and we're the people behind the glass in the focus group, and we're, yeah, right? But it's still a checking account. I was talking to some of the folks last night. When we did a lot of the research, we would start with this notion of customization and trends and industries, and the people would be really excited, and they were very engaged. And about 30 minutes into it, we say, okay, now we want to talk to you about customizing your checking account. So the people, people in the focus group, can I get my $45? I put in a half an hour, can I go now, right? So this notion of how to make it tangible, the goal we really have is to make that connection where they're engaged, where they feel ownership, they have a connection with the bank, they have a my account feel to it. And that's where the notion of the personalized check card comes in. It's the thing that makes it tangible. So obviously it's a very logical, very obvious fit that if you design your own account, you should be designing your own card. That one's fairly easy, and it's a very easy bridge for the customer to make in their mind. But the part of it that really brings it into is that passion point. It's the thing that's like, for many people, makes that notion of personalization at the account level real for them. It's tangible proof. It's visual proof. We were talking before, the three primary things we get, and this is, you can almost think of this, are babies and puppies. And then the third one would be cars. And it tends to be who you are. If you are a Gen Yer, you send us your puppy or your cat. If you are a 30-something, you send us your baby. And if you're a 40 or 50-something with children out of home, you send us your car. And it's extremely obvious what these patterns are. And it's what people are passionate about. And so what we have here, and this is clips from our website. If you go to here, this is bbvacompass.com, and then everything's just backslash. This is make my card. And you do all this stuff online. Process is very easy. As Sharon was describing, you simply upload it. It takes a matter of maybe 3 or 4 minutes. The thing's in the mail to you within a day or so. So making that connection, making it tangible, making that sense of ownership connect. So when we put all this stuff together, we really honestly pulled out all the stops. We're a smaller institution, relatively speaking. We don't spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money on this. So we did an integrated multimedia. We did TV, radio, direct mail, the whole thing, and really trying to connect this notion of how to make it visual. Because what we're trying to do is, If we can sell the card, we can sell the DDA, and again, that's when I get to make the mortgage payment. So it's very important for me. So here are some examples of our mail. The one on the left side was a postcard that just basically, it's as easy as that, and you can see the URLs at the bottom of that. This was a piece that, again, we used the visual on the front end. I mean, otherwise, if you think about from a bank side, our mail typically here, instead of a product that we actually have, that's a flashlight or a chair, right? It's something that's free checking, free gift. So something that is completely off-brand is what we're typically using to get people to open the mail. Now we can use something that's on-brand and drives revenue to get them to open the mail. It's obviously a huge deal for us. In terms of the other ways we did this, again, internal, external, again, is we had a product launch, so you have to get your sales force engaged. Again, I'll keep saying this over and over again. If you go out to your sales force and say, hey, we're going to talk about free checking, it's kind of like, that's it, huh? That's what you got. But when you talk about this, they get really excited. If you've got something new to talk about, everyone can relate. It's very easy for them to understand. The piece on the left, we ran an internal contest right about the time we launched the product. And we had primary categories, we had a nature category, we had a family category, we had a kind of a miscellaneous category, we had a pets category, and we had people submit their pictures to us, and an exclusive panel of me voted on the winners, and we picked stuff. We got a lot of engagement. I think probably 30% of our people in distribution engaged in that and sent us a picture. And then what we told folks was, if you have a winning ad or a winning picture, stuff like that, we'll see what we can do about in terms of using that in other collateral and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. And then mall intercepts are another neat thing. This was a great story. We did this that is in Dallas. Again, we've got the URL at the bottom there for both the product and the card. And we just did a mall intercept. We basically just set up a digital camera, a little sign, and said, take your picture. And then we printed out this postcard superimposed with the image, with our brand and yada yada. We had a line of people to get this. I mean, there were 30, 40 people deep at a time to get this thing, and then people are walking through the mall with their little thing. So it cost us $1,500 to do that, and it had a line of people. I don't know we would have necessarily had a line of people to talk about free checking. That probably wasn't going to happen for us. So to get that kind of engagement, it just kind of speaks to the passion of people themselves, their family, their most prized things, whether it's a child or whether it's a pet. They really connect very strongly with that. In terms of PR, MR, media picks up on this. If we try and pitch a story to the media people and we say we got a new free checking account, they don't really care, right? But if you can work in some type of, obviously another angle with that, you get picked up a lot. We got a lot of coverage basically in all of our metro markets. These are some of the ads, or some of the cards that we created. The notorious chocolate Labrador is in the top right-hand corner there. And then in terms of operational integration, this was a piece that we would do normally just in terms of check card usage. So, basically we've got Visa Extras and we've got purchase protection. Make sure you sign when you use your card is kind of the theme piece here. But what we did was integrate the personalized card into that piece where it jumps out a little bit, and that piece is one of our employees winning pieces from before, that the man and the boy on the beach there, and then we use that in our collateral. So when we do those things, again, we re-engaged our sales force, and they saw that, and everybody gets really excited. Those folks were from Denver, and he was very happy. So finally, we did all this, and the good news is, again, I still do have my job, so it must have worked in some way, shape, or form. But what we have is just off-the-chart numbers for the people that have gone to the trouble of making the card. And you can see the activation numbers are through the roof. Usage is much higher. This is 25% higher. Tickets a little bit lower. Tickets lower, I think, basically because of two functions. One is the usage volume is much higher, so you get a lot of lower tickets. And two, our adoption, as you can imagine, is primarily people under the age of 40, mostly under the age of 30. So by the very nature, there are smaller ticket items going through their wallet. Account retention is better. Loyalty and engagement is better. Again, if you think about these people, if they're really connected, the cross-sell on these folks is much higher. So across the board, we see better numbers with people who we get to personalize. Whether we talk them into it or whether they come to it on their own, it doesn't matter. Once they get there, they're a solid client for us. And all in, we put all the math together, we're making about $45 a year more in revenue per card. That's just at the card level. And again, I don't know how many of you folks out there are in retail, but I lose money on half of my customers, right? My net income on half of my customer base is negative. So the fact that I got $45 just off the card incrementally is a phenomenal thing for me.